The movie opens as the referee's whistle cuts through the air. The Stalkers lead by 4 points. The Wolves trail at 0. In the huddle, the coach urges his players to stay focused. Only 44 seconds remain. He tells Dean to grab the ball and pass it to Horse for the shot. Play resumes. The Wolves score 2 quick points, and the crowd erupts. Horse flashes a confident smile toward the bleachers, but it fades when he spots a shadowy figure among the fans. With time running out, Dean passes to Horse, who launches the ball toward the hoop. Just as the shot looks good, the shadow charges at him. The crowd roars as the ball drops in, but Horse bolts for the locker room without celebrating. Inside, hands trembling, Horse rips open his locker, pulls out an object, and smashes it with a weight as the shadow closes in. Gasping, he mutters that it's gone and begs to be left alone. He glances nervously at the door. It swings open, but it's only his teammates rushing in to celebrate the win. The scene cuts to Horse in the shower. Then Horse notices thick black smoke rising from the drain. A burning figure bursts out, forces its hand down his throat, and sets him ablaze from within. The story shifts to a calmer moment. Chris sits in her bedroom, sketching a bird in a tree. She zones out, staring blankly at the floor, until reappears in the doorway with breakfast. He happily helps her pack for her move to a new school. Soon they head out together. As Chris walks the new school hallways, she feels every student's eyes locked on her. Ralph tells Chris about a girl named Grace. Chris quietly admits she's attracted to her, but says she doesn't want any attention. Things turn awkward when the school assigns her Mason's old locker. A group of students blocks her path, insisting it belonged to their friend and she can't have it. Grace steps in and asks about Ralph, prompting the group to mock him cruelly. Ellie quickly shuts down their comments. Dean finds it all amusing. Frustrated, Chris kicks Dean hard. Mr. Craven appears and demands order. Dean complains about Chris, but Ellie defends her. Craven ignores the excuses and gives detention to everyone involved. Ellie tries to apologize, but Chris coldly brushes her off. Later at her locker, Chris finds a strange pot-shaped container inside. She opens it and sees what looks like a skull. It's actually a whistle. The moment she touches it, eerie sounds come from it. She's about to blow into it when the bell rings, stopping her. In Mr. Craven's class, Chris arrives late. The whistle slips out of her bag. Craven takes it, calls it an odd object, and examines it. The class gathers around as he notices Pisca etched into it. He decides to keep it, claiming it's school property. Outside, Ralph chats with Chris until he realizes he left his book in class and goes back. Meanwhile, Mr. Craven stays behind and searches online about the whistle. His eyes widen when he sees similar antique whistles selling for thousands. Before trying to sell it, he tests it. The instant he blows into it, nearby glass shatters. He steps out to use the restroom. Ralph slips into the empty classroom, sees the laptop screen showing the whistle's high value, and quickly pockets it. Outside, Chris bumps into Noah, who introduces himself as a pastor and invites her to his church. He soon gets too close, trying to slip her drugs. Ralph intervenes, but Noah overpowers him and nearly beats him before backing off with a threat. After Noah leaves, Ralph explains. Parents see Noah as a role model and send their kids to his church, but he's actually dealing drugs to them. 2 kids have already died. That evening, the group gathers at someone's house to work on their essay. Ralph shows them the stolen whistle. From the balcony above, Grace's brother watches quietly. Grace suggests a game to summon the dead. Everyone gets excited. Chris tries to leave, but Ellie convinces her to stay and have fun. Just as Chris reaches the door, Grace blows the whistle. A piercing, ear-splitting sound fills the room. Dean freezes, hearing something else like approaching footsteps. Back at school, Mr. Craven realizes the whistle is gone and starts searching. Janitor Charlie is making his rounds when Craven calls him. Craven spots a figure standing unnaturally still in the hallway. As it moves toward him, Charlie appears, and Craven brushes it off as exhaustion. But when he returns to his classroom, an ancient ghostly figure lunges at him and kills him instantly. At Grace's place, Dean cracks jokes while Chris decides to head home. Ellie follows her out and mentions tomorrow's Harvest Festival, maybe their last big hangout before everyone grows up. She says it would mean a lot if Chris came. Ralph hands Ellie her diabetes kit as she leaves. Watching Ellie walk away, Chris quietly wonders if Ellie is actually into guys. That night, Chris listens to music while typing a suggestive text to Ellie. Through her window, she spots someone standing in the tree outside. Ralph suddenly appears beside her. When they look again, the figure is gone. In the panic, Chris accidentally sends the message. She freaks out, but Ellie replies casually, chatting about the festival. Elsewhere, Grace works on her assignment by the pool. She hears noises and assumes it's Jimmy. She sees him turning off his lights. Someone rushes past behind her. Grace thinks Dean is pranking her, but then a hand touches her shoulder. She spins around, expecting Jimmy. The next morning, students gather for an assembly to mourn Mr. Craven's death. The news shakes Chris and Ralph deeply. During the assembly, Ellie notices a girl in front of them behaving strangely, almost as if something demonic has taken over her. Ralph suggests they return the whistle to Mason's family. Chris and Ellie drive to Mason's house together. On the way, Ellie notices Chris's tattoo and compliments it warmly. When they arrive, the front door stands wide open. They call out as they step inside. Chris spots something odd in one of the rooms. Mason's mother, Ivy, appears and leads them to a room packed with antiques. Chris tries to return the whistle, but Ivy says it never belonged to her. The whistle chooses its owners. It found her grandson, then her, and now it's found Chris. Chris mentions how Craven seemed to summon death with it, but Ivy corrects her. It doesn't summon death. It summons your death. She explains that everyone dies at their appointed time, but hearing the whistle brings death early. When it takes you, you age instantly to the age you would have reached if you'd lived your full, natural life. Ivy hands the whistle back to Chris. Outside, Ellie suggests Ivy might have mental health issues or be on medication. At the Harvest Festival, Ralph arrives dressed sharply. He spots Grace and finally gathers the courage to confess his feelings. Grace lets him down kindly, saying he's sweet but will make some other girl much happier. She kisses his cheek and walks away. Chris can't stop thinking about Mason and Craven's deaths. She and Ellie sneak into the hospital to check medical records. They pull the files, but a doctor enters, forcing them to hide. Chris notices something chilling. Mason's body showed signs of a 40-year-old man at death. She recalls Ivy's words, "You become what you would have been." Realizing everyone is in danger, they hurry out to warn the others. On the way, they run into Noah. Ellie doesn't hesitate, she beats him down. Chris reminds him of the kids who died because of him and lands a few hits herself. They rush off to find Ralph first, so he can help spread the warning. At the festival, Grace navigates the haunted maze. Then she sees something different, a woman standing still, staring. Grace runs, but the woman keeps appearing ahead no matter which path she takes. She calls Dean, but he thinks she's joking. The woman appears again and swings a shovel, striking Grace's head. Grace falls but scrambles away. She regains consciousness and runs until she reaches a dead end. Spotting a small gap, she crawls through. The woman grabs her ankle and drags her back, but Grace kicks free and reaches the bell at the finish line. Still not safe, the woman attacks one last time. Grace rapidly ages into an elderly woman. Dean arrives just in time to see her lifeless body hanging there. At the school basketball court, Ellie and Chris explain the truth about Grace's death to Ralph and Dean. Dean refuses to believe any of it and turns on Chris, blaming her for everything going wrong since she arrived. Chris explains that they all heard the whistle, which means they all summoned their own deaths. Ralph snaps back, blaming Dean for suggesting the stupid game in the first place. Dean loses his temper, shouting that Grace would never have given him a chance anyway, then storms off. Later, he drives home drunk. In his driveway, he spots an injured man standing there. Panicked, he blinks, and the man vanishes. Meanwhile, Ellie and Chris spend time together. Chris opens up about her father's death in a sudden car accident. A truck came out of nowhere and killed him. Ellie listens quietly, then kisses her, reminding her that everyone carries something heavy. They comfort each other, and that night, they become intimate. Ralph begins seeing visions of his own death. The next day, the three visit Ivy, who is in terrible condition and clearly dying. She tells them death can't be called back, but its path can be changed by transferring it to someone else. like an offering. She stresses one thing: death itself can't be defeated. Chris glimpses her own death in a mirror just as Ivy passes away. At home, Dean watches news about a body found the night before Grace. His stomach drops. His bedroom door swings open on its own, and a demonic hand reaches through. He slams it shut and locks it. Downstairs, his worried parents call out. Suddenly, the entity bursts from his closet and grabs him. Dean was meant to die in an accident, so death forces him through those exact motions, and he's gone. Ellie and Chris search Ralph's room and find photos showing exactly how he's supposed to die. They realize too late what he's planning. Ralph has already tracked down Noah, gun in hand, ready to force his death onto him. He corners Noah and aims at his head. Noah fights back, gets the gun, and pulls the trigger, but nothing happens. Ralph knew he wouldn't die by gunshot. He beats Noah unconscious and ties him up. He's about to complete the transfer using Noah's blood when Ellie and Chris burst in and stop him. Before this, Ralph had forced Noah to take his own drugs, so Noah is tripping hard, hallucinating. Ralph mutters that everyone dies eventually. Chris suddenly understands what they must do, but before they can act, Ralph feels his death arrive. It pulls at him. His hands begin crushing exactly as he was destined to die. Ellie and Chris try desperately to save him, but there's nothing they can do. Ralph is torn apart right in front of them. Chris comes up with a desperate plan. Use Ellie's insulin to stop Chris's heart technically killing her, then revive her with adrenaline and other drugs. If she dies briefly, maybe death will pass her by. They set everything up in an abandoned hospital wing. Chris sees her own death manifesting, but ignores it and fills a bathtub with water. Ellie injects the insulin. Chris's death appears fully now. As she collapses into the water, it begins drowning her. Ellie pulls her out and starts CPR, shocking her heart with the defibrillator over and over. Across the building, Noah regains consciousness and searches for them, trying to break through a locked shutter. Ellie's own death materializes beside her, but she refuses to stop saving Chris. Noah finally smashes in and starts shooting at the equipment. Deep in her unconscious mind, Chris relives every moment with Ellie. She hears Ellie's voice calling her back, sees light, and reaches for it. Her eyes snap open, she's alive. But then she sees Ellie on the floor with a gunshot wound, her death looming over her. Noah stumbles over, gun raised for revenge. But when his hand touches Ellie's blood, something shifts. Ellie's death transfers to him and vanishes from her. Noah's own death appears in front of him. Panicked, he fires at it. The bullets ricochet and kill him instantly. 3 months later, Chris still glimpses her death now and then, but she's learned to live with it. She and Ellie are together now, a real couple, always there for each other. Then, a new student arrives at school and gets assigned a locker. Inside, she finds the whistle. During a school assembly, the girl pulls it out and blows it in front of the entire student body.